morning, everyone. I hope you're all having a nice day. This week, we have been reviewing the different historical thinking skills that we've learned to use so far this year. And today, we're going to continue down that path by reviewing historical context questions and enduring issues. And we're going to be looking at those two skills, or rather, using those two skills to look deeper at the 2000 presidential election and maybe even think about what lessons we can learn from that election that could be useful in our present day. So today our lesson objective is I can contextualize the 2000 election, which will allow me to identify and explain enduring issues in the 2000 election. So to get started on this objective, let's begin by reviewing historical context questions. Now, these questions are really useful when looking at any sort of historical event, but they're especially useful when it comes to trying to uncover the enduring issues at play in an event. So we're going to use these questions to begin to identify those enduring issues in the 2000 election or in any historical event, depending on what you're looking at. So we're going to ask questions like, when did it happen? Where did it happen? What led to it? And why did it happen, when and where it took place? So these are the historical context questions that we're going to use to uncover the enduring issues, right? And these enduring issues, we're all familiar with them, but we'll review them again. They are conflict, desire for power, inequity, need for and impact of innovation, impact of interconnectedness, impact of ideas and beliefs, environmental impact, scarcity, and population growth. Now, I like to think about enduring issues as sort of like umbrella ideas, and we can kind of pick out the different issues that we see in our communities or in the world at large, and we can put them under these different umbrellas, right? So if we look at an issue like poverty, for example, we can see that poverty can fall under, inequity. It could also fall under scarcity and maybe even need for and impact of innovation, for example. So we're going to be looking today at the 2000 election, and we're going to be thinking about enduring issues and using historical context questions to identify them. Learning about the 2000 presidential election, which was a contest between George W. Bush, who we see on the right, and Al Gore, who we see on the left. And in the middle there, we see an election official attempting to count a vote, which is a big part of this whole 2000 presidential election story. So before we really get into what happened in the year 2000, we need to sort of identify some terms. So in a presidential election, the popular vote is basically the person who gets the most votes, right? And so if in the United States we had a popular vote system, the person who gets the most votes would win. But we don't have a popular vote system. We have an electoral college. And what an electoral college is a system where each state gets electoral votes based on their population. And the candidate who wins the state, right, who gets the popular vote in the state, gets all of the electoral votes. And whoever gets the most electoral votes wins. So, for example, a big state with lots of people like New York or California has a lot of electoral votes. And a smaller state with fewer people, such as Delaware or Rhode Island, has very few electoral votes. And usually, almost always, but not always, the Electoral College and the popular vote agree, right? The person who gets the most votes also wins the Electoral College. But sometimes that isn't the case. And so in the year 2000, Al Gore on the left won the popular vote, but George W. Bush on the right won the Electoral College, and because we have an Electoral College system, he won the election. That is, again, what happened in 2016, and who knows what will happen in the year 2020. And so we are going to look at a video about the 2000 election, and we're going to look at an article about the 2000 election and what it might mean in the year 2020. And while we're reading and watching, we should have these questions in mind. We should ask ourselves while we're reading and watching, what enduring issues can you see in the 2000 election? So we want to be asking those historical context questions of the sources, and those questions might be able to lead us to those enduring issues. We want to be asking, how does the 2000 election relate to the history of voter suppression in the United States? We have talked a good deal about the history of voter suppression in the United States already. And I think that we should have that history in mind when we're looking at this election, because I think that we can find connections there. And I think those connections might be related to enduring issues. So we should have this question in mind while we're reading and watching and thinking. And we should also be asking ourselves, what does this mean for the election in 2020? Whenever we're looking at history, we should be thinking, how does it relate to our lives today? And I think that this is definitely the case when we're learning about the 2000 election. So be asking yourself, what does the election in the year 2000 tell us about what could happen in this upcoming presidential election? Okay, so good luck in your reading and watching, and I am looking forward to hearing what you have to say.